Alright, hey everybody, it's me and Buster Green, and 2024 is officially over in less than a month, and I bet you guys weren't expecting me to review another brand new Gundam anime, but you'd be wrong because 2024 is just full of surprises like that. And one of these is that the brand friggin' new Gundam ALC encounter, an anime that despite all its hype, ended up being exclusively broadcast on the side of the Gundam Frontier Lalaport in Fukuoka, Japan. Alright, so I guess there's a lot to explain here, and starting off with what the heck is Fukuoka Lalaport? So the Lalaport is kind of a newish place, at least the Gundam side of it. I'll throw down that the Lalaport franchise started off as one of Japan's premier shopping mall locations in Tokyo in 1981. The first Lalaport was an actual port, the port at Minami Funabashi in Tokyo Bay. The port was redesigned from a shipping container drop-off point to a high-end luxury fashion mall, with the name Lalaport being a funny combination of the French words for ooh la la and la porte. Therefore, it is the Lalaport. Since then, the franchise has been periodically expanding across Japan, but then in the pandemic, somehow they shifted into high gear and expanded at a time when most other malls were failing, and then nowadays the Lalaport has gone full international, and meanwhile Lalaport Fukuoka has rebranded itself heavily into a Gundam-type theme park called Gundam Side F. It also contains the life-size statue of the Fukuoka new Gundam, and I covered Gundam Side F originally when it was being constructed during the pandemic, and here's a report from my past self about what should theoretically still be there. Because we've been following the saga of the 1/1 scale statue of the slightly wrong No Fin Funnels new Gundam in Fukuoka, apparently now that it's finally done, they've decided to accompany it with a fully working Gundam theme park called Gundam Park Fukuoka. Now, I've always wanted a really good excuse to travel to Fukuoka. It's the island from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, but let's see exactly what this Gundam theme park is all about, because it doesn't sound like it's a full quality theme park experience. This Gundam park contains 3 zones: Gundam Side F, the Versus Park, and the Namco Zone. So Gundam Side F is apparently a Gundam building area / food court, stylized to look like the inside of a space colony. $5,000 Star Wars hotel, eat your heart out. And apparently you can buy exclusive versions of models of the new Gundam statue that will be sold at the Gunpla store there. Otherwise, it's just a food court. Next up is Versus Park with G. This apparently is the highlight and the most theme parkish area of this theme park. It's described as a sports activity area where guests will come in and they will have to compete in silly Japanese game show-like challenge activities. Some of the activities listed are Yoki-Kiru and Nigi-Kiru. Now, what the hell did those mean in English? Okay, apparently, Yoki-Kiru is a Japanese term relating mostly to bullet hell games, and there is a picture of the Yoki-Kiru stand, so it looks like it's maybe some kind of bullet hell dodgeball shooting gallery, although I'm not sure if you're doing the shooting or getting shot at. Meanwhile, Nigi-Kiru apparently means to outrun, and this is apparently a thing that already exists at the Namco Versus Park in Osaka. It appears to be a game where you try to outrun or simply dodge a stampeding African elephant. And it seems like the African elephant pretty much always wins. Apparently, Osaka already has the first Versus Park. This new one in Fukuoka is just going to be a Gundam-themed one. Lastly, the Namco Zone is just an old-school Namco arcade, but apparently it's going to have a few exclusive Gundam things, like a Whoops All Gundam version of Taiko no Tatsujin, and the debut launch of Gundam Senju no Kizuna 2, which is kind of cool. But yeah, summing this thing up in total, it's barely a theme park. It's more like an activity room, an arcade, a restaurant, and a plastic model shop. I guess those are the bare minimum of elements that you would use to describe a theme park, but there's definitely no rides or nothing big enough to warrant a cross-country international flight. If you want to ride a Gundam ride, Fuji-Q Highland Park is still the best place to find one. And yeah, since then, Gundam Side F has just persisted on. They did a pretty low-stakes Witch from Mercury tie-in campaign, which just amounted to them changing some light colors and playing the Witch from Mercury OST on a loop. And I found this commercial while researching this video that implies that they've added a few more games to the Gundam arcade, and it actually shows the Gundam facilities actually finished and what you could actually experience if you went all the way to Fukuoka and did that. Now, they released a few more custom Gunpla exclusive to the location, all with a mostly CCA theme due to it being the Fukuoka new Gundam. The Versus Park seems to have updated with IRL Tetris, IRL Wii Tennis, This one looks like Jenga. Some kind of weird game where you're fighting with like pool noodles over like a bunch of Zagaks. I don't know what that is. And also they've apparently finished the Gundam Taiko no Tatsujin, and you can see like there's like a mascot dressed up like Bright Noah. That's weird. And lastly, this month they released the first original anime to the location, the Gundam ALC Encounter. But this isn't the first original anime to the location, because it also seems to have launched with a CGI battle of the Fukuoka Nu fighting the Fukuoka Sazabi, and there have been a handful of exclusive videos for the site, mostly consisting of recycled content, music videos, and clip shows of Gundam playing all throughout the site. And so, of course, the main tourist trap of Fukuoka Lalaport is the Fukuoka Nu Gundam. Now, at this point, I'm going to do a biography of the Fukuoka Nu Gundam because I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I've held back because there's honestly not a ton of content, but this is probably the best chance I'm going to have to talk about it. Now, most of the classic Gundams were designed to work first and foremost as action figures, but the Fukuoka Nu Gundam is different because this is the first Gundam that's ever been designed to be a real feat of engineering and a real statue. In the past 10 years, we've had a massive breakout in the fact that Japan figured out how to make life-size Gundams and made it profitable enough to make at least a couple of them a couple of times. Now, originally there was the first RX-78 statue that was originally at the Bandai factory in Shizuoka, but it was moved to Diver City, Tokyo in Odaiba. And in 2017, it was finally destroyed and replaced by the superior Odaiba Unicorn Gundam. And then in 2020, it was reconstructed as the Yokohama RX-78, which was fully able to move around, but then that was also dismantled earlier this year, making me very sad. But good news is apparently going to be recycled a third time and built next year as a kneeling Gundam in Osaka for the 2025 Osaka's World's Fair, so I still technically have a chance to see that one. Meanwhile, in China, there is the Freedom Gundam that was built at Lalaport, Shanghai in 2021 because Chinese people love themselves some Gundam Seed. And so all these Gundams up to now have been interesting because they're all Gundams that don't really have huge backpacks. So I can't really predict that we'll ever see America getting a life-size Wing Zero ever. But the first exception to this was the Shanghai Freedom, which did have wings, but the wings were posed in such a way to fortify it to the ground. The backpack basically functioning as a stand, holding it in place, and despite all that, it didn't really work because the Shanghai Freedom Gundam was eventually destroyed in a typhoon. Okay, just kidding, apparently that was a Chinese shitpost and it wasn't actually destroyed, but they have been doing some additional repairs on it since the typhoon. But anyway, that brings us to the Fukuoka Nu Gundam, constructed in 2022. So the Fukuoka Nu is probably one of the most interesting Gundam designs because it's the only Gundam design in history caused by the limitations of real-world engineering. Now here's another vintage clip from me when they originally announced the Fukuoka Gundam and what I thought of it back then. Alright, so in normal Gundam news, they have built a real-scale, full-size statue of the Nu Gundam in Fukuoka, Japan, I believe. Fukuoka is the island furthest south. Anyway, long story short, it's the Nu Gundam, but unfortunately it doesn't have fin funnels. And I asked around, I was like, when are they putting the fin funnels on it? Turns out they ain't, which sucks. Now, can it really be the Nu Gundam without fin funnels? Well, I guess it's gonna have to be. They're trying to make up for it by saying it's like some weird fin funnel-less Nu Gundam that has a cannon on its back instead of the fin funnels. Apparently, there's actually an engineering reason why it doesn't have fin funnels. The fin funnels would pretty much act as a giant sail, and with one good gust of wind, it would knock the Nu Gundam over. Because, you know, Japan gets typhoons, so go figure. Anyway, that bums me out, because I want to see fin funnels. Also, they didn't have to do the fin funnels on the back. They could have got creative with it. They could have, like, spread the fin funnels around the building or something. You know, come on. They copped out on that. I really feel like that's a cop-out. Do you feel like that's a cop-out? Let me know in the comments. And what I think of it right now is honestly not too different. Now the thing is, They didn't make the original New Gundam into a statue for the reason that it would be pretty blatant that the New Gundam's original fin funnel array would have just worked as a sail and inevitably caused the Gundam to blow away in a typhoon, as the Shanghai Strike Freedom eventually did. There was a short discussion about the Fukuoka Gundam being a redesign of the New Gundam into the double fin funnel type, with the fin funnels located closer to the ground, acting once again more as an anchor like with the Strike Freedom, and I personally still think that would have been a good option, but the best option for me would have just been to do the original New Gundam with some of the fin funnels artistically and coolly placed around the building. I think that's what I would have preferred, but instead we ended up with the Fukuoka New Gundam, or as it's probably termed in universe, the RX-93ff New Gundam, which in universe the FF stands for Big Fin Funnel, or Long Range Fin Funnel. It kind of seems redundant because all the New Gundams have fin funnels, but in real life everyone's just making a joke that the FF doesn't stand for Fin Funnel, it stands for New Gundam from Fukuoka. Supposedly in universe, the FF is an upgraded New Gundam, upgraded on the basis that Amuro Ray had some complaints about the firepower of the original New Gundam, because supposedly the New Gundam sends along a weak array of fin funnels to attack an enemy. It can't one-shot an enemy or surprise enemies, and therefore the New Gundam FF, with its giant singular fin funnel, can shoot down a battleship or overpower mobile suits, with the fin funnel acting as a sort of high mega launcher, making it much stronger and much more useful for sniping and espionage missions. The goal of the FF being to one-shot enemies at a distance with an unexpected new type remote-controlled weapon that, in this case, is a giant freaking sniper rail cannon. It is further speculated that this version of the New Gundam was never completed in universe because the specifications that Amuro Ray made were not put into place before his death. But the version at Lalaport, Fukuoka, was supposedly constructed after his death from the requests he made that were put in this upgrade request. So yeah, the Fukuoka New Gundam has surprisingly had a pretty robust video game career, at least since its release. It was first featured in Gundam Breaker Mobile and then later added to Gundam Extreme Versus 2 X-Boost. Then it was added to Gundam Battle Operation 2, and most recently it's been seen in Gundam Breaker 4, where it's a pretty terrifying boss defending the Lalaport Mall in Fukuoka, as that is its home. Anime-wise, the Fukuoka New Gundam hasn't been seen a ton. It was initially featured in this promotional video for it, where it fought the Fukuoka Sazabi. I should mention at this time that the Fukuoka Sazabi is its partner, an upgraded Sazabi, similar upgrade in the way that the Fukuoka New was upgraded, to where Char's Sazabi has traded in its fin funnels for two gigantic beam sabers that can also supposedly be remote controlled like the fin funnels. And finally, most recently, the New Gundam has been featured in Gundam ALC, which I will now go over. Initially, Gundam ALC Encounter was hyped up to be a pretty big deal because it's a combination of Char's counterattack with Studio Trigger, and it's also a Gundam release for the 45th anniversary of Gundam, and some hardcore Japanese otaku would make a pilgrimage all the way to Fukuoka at its launch to see it when it first came out. But thankfully, I didn't do that. Even though I thought about it, it was way too much money. That would have been like $2,000. But anyway, thankfully, when it did come out last week, it ended up getting pirated online because the anime is literally just broadcast on the side of Lalaport Fukuoka, available for anyone in the public to see and record. The music video is also only 5 minutes long, so I really can't recommend you guys fly all the way to Fukuoka, Japan to see this, because it is just a 5-minute long music video. Alright, so that gets us into Gundam ALC Encounter. Gundam ALC Encounter is not a proper Gundam anime. I would call it at best a sexy music video, and it's a sexy music video for the song Hot by the hot new band Lalaport. And if you're in Fukuoka, the music video plays twice a day at 7 o'clock and 8:30 p.m. on the dot on literally the side of the building. So Gundam ALC Encounter was directed by Yoshiyuki Kaneko from Studio Trigger. He also famously directed and storyboarded episodes of Gridman and Cyberpunk Edgerunners, and he was guest directing over a team of animators from Sunrise to create Gundam ALC Encounter. Anyway, let's talk about Gundam ALC Encounter. It's very short and very weird. ALC stands for Amuro, Lala, and Char, and the idea of the short is that somehow Lala Soon, who died in UC 0079, in the 20 years since then has somehow managed to reincarnate, but she's somehow reincarnated in the real world, and therefore that has drawn Amuro and Char to her location. And now here we are that Char and Amuro are going to fight all over again over her reincarnation in 2024. This is sort of literally one of the themes around Quest Pariah in the Char's Counterattack movie, but in ALC they are literally fighting over the literal reincarnation of Lala. And with all that aside, let's go fully over the plot of Gundam ALC, which once again I must remind you is a sexy music video on the side of a building. So yeah, we get an awesome POV shot of the mall's escalator. This is apparently a POV from Char's perspective. It has some pretty nice cel-shaded CG animation going into the reveal of TikTok Zoomer Lala Soon reincarnation. Now, I heard online that Zoomer Lala Soon was supposed to be a caricature of one of the Ilamote singers, but the Ilamote singers both seem to be your typical Japanese goth rock girls, so I'm going to say that doesn't appear to be true, and I'm not even sure if they're actually lesbians, but the implication there is kind of funny. So yeah, somehow this girl, who is a reincarnation of Lala Soon, but way too into TikTok dances it up at the empty Fukuoka Mall and summons Char Asmol, who is just totally standing there creeping on her as he stands outside of Gundam Side F in Fukuoka. There is totally a strange moment where Char walks by a cardboard cutout of himself and Amuro, which is some total multiverse nonsense. Char starts looking at the cardboard cutout, almost about to say something about himself, when Amuro surprises him from behind with a gun. And Amuro is like, "You take one move and I'm gonna kill you." And Char is totally ignoring all this, and he's like, "Hey Amuro, did you see that girl upstairs? She remind you of anyone?" And Amuro is like, "What are you talking about? What girl?" And then Amuro looks at the girl and is like, "Oh shit, that girl." Which totally allows Char to spin around and kick the gun out of his hands. And Char is like, "You were really gonna shoot me in the back? I'll kick your ass." So Amuro runs away like a bitch. But Amuro runs down the escalator and Char jumps over the escalator and catches the fuck up. Amuro and Char start like punching each other in the face. Amuro punches first, Char punches him back. And meanwhile, hot Zoomer Lala cannot care one bit, and she's just continuing to do her hot TikTok dance. Now the fight gets interrupted when these small human-sized statues of the Sazabi and the new Gundam come to life and immediately start fighting. Char says something crazy that apparently the statues at Lalaport Fukuoka all contain Psycho Frame, and they're reacting to the Psycho Frame of Char and Amuro fighting and also Lala dancing, and so therefore the Sazabi and the new statues are now having an exciting human-sized Gundam battle inside the mall with dramatic laser lighting. They bump around all over the tight mall hallways before they escape out the parking garage and then have an aerial battle over the street. Eventually they clash in front of the giant Fukuoka Gundam statue that at this point is still just a statue. But then Lala Soon's Psycho Frame goes off because apparently Lala is wearing a Psycho Frame necklace, and Char freaks out to see that, oh my god, the CCA Aurora effect is filling the entire mall. Char says that the woman's energy is causing a Psycho Frame resonance event, and Amuro really asks that her dancing around like that could cause it. At this point, the Psycho Frame Aurora causes the Fukuoka new Gundam to come to life, and it fires wildly into space where the Fukuoka Sazabi has appeared above them. Zoomer Lala finishes her song and notices that Amuro and Char are being sucked back into the multiverse, seemingly back to the original Gundam universe. But before she can make any sense of that, Zoomer Lala is greeted by her loving and defensive girlfriend, who gives Char and Amuro the "don't fuck with my girlfriend" stare. And then Char says something poetic along the lines of, "This woman doesn't need us, we are from an older world." And Amuro then says something like, "The woman generated the Aurora field as a reaction to her feelings and experiences." And then, anyway, they all get sucked back into the black hole, and it ends with the new Gundam and the Sazabi standing dramatically all in front of the black hole. And in the end credits, you see the uninterrupted Lala Soon TikTok dance, once again played to the song Super Hot, and once again entirely from a TikTok phone video window. So yeah, in short, summing this anime up, Amuro and Char came from another dimension to creep on a teenage Lala Soon incarnation at the mall who was living her best life as a TikTok lesbian, but then they proceeded to beat the shit out of each other, got rejected by the new Lala, and sucked back into their own universe. And with that, that's everything I can say about Gundam ALC, and probably everything I can say about Fukuoka Lalaport, the Fukuoka new Gundam, and all that other stuff. So join me next time when maybe I'll talk about something else. But yeah, that's your breakdown of what the heck is Lalaport Fukuoka, and what the heck is Gundam ALC, and what the heck is the Gundam RX-93ff and where it come from. All right, that's all. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. Maybe I'll make another video. All right, thanks everybody. Good night.